guys, this is Heather at Homeschool Culture, and today I'm going to talk about high school transcripts. If you haven't already watched the video that I discussed kind of like how to plan out your high school career, then you might want to jump over there and watch that one first. It'll probably benefit you more to do that one first and then jump into the transcript as well. Unless you've already, maybe you're towards the very, very end of the high school career and you're ready just to get that going. So then go ahead and stick around. On this video, I'm going to discuss it two ways. I'm going to discuss how I set it up using Excel, which there are free Excel. You can make it for free online. And I think you can also, if you don't have a Microsoft membership, because that's how they do it these days, it is, I think, like $6 or $7. So you could even just do it for 1 month and go ahead and get it, printed out and all of that. I'm going to discuss first, as we go about, I'm going to show you some different requirements. I talked about on that previous video about how some colleges require differently. And I also I prefaced that you kind of need to get a game plan going in to high school. Now, I know game plans change. So like, this doesn't mean it's set in stone. It's going to change. I do understand that. But if you know your child is going to be college bound, and they want to do nursing and they want to go to this college, then start looking at those requirements. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to show you how much it can vary from like a junior college to a university in Texas versus a university in Virginia versus a private university. And so I'm going to show you that real quick. And then I'm going to talk about how to set it up. I'm also going to talk about AP classes and honors classes and how those need to look and kind of my opinion on that. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the very first thing I'm going to show you is requirements at Virginia Tech. And so one thing you're going to do is, like, again, and I'm just giving these as an example. So if you know your child wants to go to a specific college or university, you're going to go type in first year admission requirements for homeschool Virginia Tech, or Virginia Tech first year admission requirements. Always type in homeschool because they might take you directly to that page. If not, that's okay. They might not have a specific page, but sometimes they do. So I just wanted to throw that out there. So for this, you can see right here, they require only 18 units, which we call credits here in Texas, of high school coursework. So again, your state requirement might be 22 to 26 credits, but look right here, they only want at least 18. And again, if you're like Texas, where homeschool is a private institution, or a private school, I should say, then it doesn't really matter as much. I'm always going to say it's probably smart to go with your state requirements. You never know what's going to happen. Your kid has to go back to public school, or they change their mind, or whatever. So just keep that in mind. And it's really easy to get, it's really easy to get 20, 22, 26, even 30 credits in high school. And I'll explain that too here in a minute. But this one only needs 18. So they need 4 units of English, 3 units of math, and it tells you specific which ones. 2 units of laboratory science, choosing from biology, chemistry, or physics. So it has to be at least 2 of them have to come from these 3. 2 units of social, social science, which would be like social studies. 1 has to be history. Other social sciences would be like psychology, sociology, things like that, geography. And then 3 additional academic units. Foreign language is highly recommended. So you would probably want at least 2 coming from foreign language. Maybe another academic might be even something as simple as government and economics, which is things that your kids really need to take anyways, in my opinion. So, and then the last thing is 4 electives. And so this is what they are looking at here at Virginia Tech. Now, I looked up Liberty University because my daughter is thinking that. And so if you see here, it says our homeschool student college admission process. So they have one specific to homeschool. And it goes in and it talks about, and this one I like, it even gives you a sample transcript. Okay, and so this is how they set it up. Notice what they want up here. So they want the name of the school. And again, I would just put homeschool. Like, you don't have to make up some school name or anything. You can, but you don't have to. They want the student name, birth date, gender, grade, parents, name, legal name, and the address. A lot of times also they will want like a social security number, and I think that's about it. And then they break theirs up by grade. So 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th, 12th. Please, and I did not talk about this in my previous video, but if your child is taking Algebra 1 in 8th grade, then that 8th grade needs to go on there with the Algebra 1. So instead of having 3 or 4 grade levels, they will have 5 grade levels. And there are other courses that could be as well. So just FYI on that. And so what they do there, they break theirs into fall semester and spring semester. The reason why you'll want to do that is because some of the courses, like right here, U.S. Civil War is only 1 semester. And notice they use letter grades, A, B, C, D, instead of number grades. This is what I talked about in my last video. I said I'd touch on it here. The reason why they do that is, and this is just my opinion, when you do number grades, let's say you have public school has 250 in their graduating class, they need to have a salutatorian, a valedictorian, all of those things, top 10%, etc. At homeschool, your kid's it. They're not being compared to others. And so therefore, they don't need a number grade for every. And in fact, most colleges that I have looked at actually want letter grades from homeschool. They don't want a number grade. And so that kind of is beneficial in a sense of like, if you do grade very, very, to the T, and you know that your kid makes an 82, well, you put a B on there, and that's, anywhere from an 80 to an 89. So anyways, point being is, I just think it's just easier whenever you're in college. That's how they grade, etc. I'm also thinking about, I know I keep saying I think about doing another video, but I'm thinking about just giving y'all an opinion video on how I grade and why I grade that way. So I think I'm going to do that as well. Anyways, back to this. So what you're going to do is, just so you know this, so an A gets 4 points, a B gets 3 points, a C gets 2 points, and a D gets 1 point, and then an F would be 0. And so obviously you're not going to put an F on a transcript. I wouldn't even put a D on a transcript. I'm going to be real honest. But you're going to give them these grades. Then you're going to give them the final grade, which I don't know how they did that, but okay. And then you're going to give how many credits. So if they took a full year of English, then they got a half a credit in the fall, a half a credit in spring, which gave them a full credit. Again, like right here, physical education was only in the fall, so they only got a half a credit. Okay, so this is a good example. Let's move on. All right, just real quick, here is University of Arkansas. Okay, so if you go in here and you're like, I can't find anything on homeschool and there's so much to read, go to, usually it's these little ... Go to find, type in home, which I already did, and right here, and that way you're not having to go through so much stuff. So it's talking about applicants with less than a 3.2 high school GPA should submit an ACT, SAT, a next generation AccuPlacer score at the time of application. Test scores are also required for homeschool applicants. That is because, again, they have nothing to compare. So you said your daughter made a 4.0 or your son made a 4.0 straight A's. They have nothing to compare that 4.0 to. They do have something to compare ACT, SAT, etc. to. So honestly, a lot of times, especially with big universities, they don't really, they care on the courses that the child took a lot less, they care a lot less on the grade. They do care about the courses. But this is what they're going to be looking at right there. That's going to be a lot of, do they get into this college? Is going to be their SAT and ACT. ACT and SAT score. And then like when I go to Texas, now Texas A&M is a very hard college to get into. You have to be in the top 10% if you're a public school student. If you're, for the holistic review, is going to be like your homeschool kids or out of state. And again, a lot of it is going to have to do with, let's see. So they're going to look at the high school courses attempted, the rigor of them. And again, okay, so this is my next thing I want to talk about when we talk about, I'm going to go back to this because this helps. Okay, whenever you take, let's say all of these courses are AP courses or honors courses. In public school, an AP English class is weighted more then a regular English class, meaning instead of just getting, let's say, like sometimes they might add 10 points. So instead of making an 89, they made it 99. Sometimes they add 10%. There's different ways that they weight it. So you end up with students at the top of the class, your top 10% and whatever, that have over 100 grade point average. Don't try to do weighted courses on y'all's. Again, there's nothing to compare it to. So don't worry and stress out about how am I going to do this weighted course. Don't worry about it. What they want to see is that it was an honors English 9 class, or it was an honors Spanish class, or whatever. And I wouldn't put honors or AP unless it was just in case they asked for more information. I mean, of course, I'm never going to tell you to lie on these anyways, but just think about that whenever you're doing them. The last thing before I get into actually creating one, which I'm going to show you how easy it is. Okay, so I hope that helped a little bit. Again, I'm going to show you, if you want to stick around, and I will show you how I kind of created mine in Microsoft Excel. You could also use Google Sheets as well. Like I said, Microsoft has a free online, it's online. So it's, it's based on the internet version. I think you can print from it. I'm not sure if you can save. That's the only thing. And then Google Sheets, of course, you can. But before I talk about that, I just want to emphasize again, I would not worry about doing anything but letter grades. I also want to emphasize this. Like if my daughter's taking a math and a science through a program that grades everything. So at the end of this, I'm going to get a score. Let's say my daughter made an 85. I'm not going to put 85 in the transcript. I'm going to put a B. There's so many different philosophies in education. Like think about Charlotte Mason, and where a lot of those kids that do Charlotte Mason, which we do some Charlotte Mason, we're very eclectic, but they do narration. That is instead of writing, specific papers, they do narrations for their history. So they read the subject matter, whatever the book is, and then they narrate that information. And so it's very subjective. That is so subjective. And so sometimes you have to step back, and I'm going to talk about this again in that grading video, but I want to, just in case you don't watch it, I want to say it here. Not every assignment has to be graded for a number grade. You will know if your child has successfully mastered that material, right? You're going to know, if you know what the book is about and you've read their narration, you know that they've successfully mastered that information. Give them an A. If you don't think that they deserve an A, you think they deserve a B, then give them a B. I don't think, it's just because I kind of know how it works. I don't think it's too hard for committee members that are, trying to choose who gets to be enrolled in our school to decide, this person over here's got a 4.0. They're not going to look at a 4.0 on a homeschooler and think, gosh, they got a 4.0, good job. Because again, we give the grade. So they don't have a clue. And I don't mean this to be ugly, I'm just being serious. They don't have a clue if you just put a 4.0 in, if they deserved a 4.0. So they're going to look at their ACT, their SAT. They're going to look at volunteer work. Did they have a job? Did they have all these other factors? And that, again, you have to do your due diligence and research, what schools want to see, all of them. Don't be afraid to call. I did want to mention this. I don't think I have. If you're not sure, I'm doing this curriculum and I'm not sure, is this an AP course? Is it equivalent to an AP or an honors course? Then call. So if I'm doing, we do Dive, Dr. Shorman's Algebra 1 with geometry credit, and she'll do Algebra 2 with geometry credit. If I'm not sure how, because there are a lot of things in there where it talks about this is an AP tested type question, etc. And so if I decide that, hey, I want to maybe just show that she took AP equivalent courses, then I'm going to call them or email them and say, hey, is this considered an AP equivalent course, or is this considered an honors course? Because you want to obviously give your kids that credit if it is. I do think that's important. So those are just things to think about. And then the last thing, and I did not mention this, I don't think in the other video, and I meant to, is if they are going into, and I kind of did, if they are going into a very specialized program of study at a university, okay? Like within the College of Engineering or whatever. It's in a bit, and you want them to not only get into the university, but what you want them to go ahead and, potentially they could go ahead and get into this, this College of Engineering or whatever within the university. You do want to set them apart by having them potentially taking courses that are going to benefit them for that degree plan, if that makes sense, or that they are apprenticing, like I talked about apprenticeships, or they're volunteering somewhere, or whatever it might be, or they're working somewhere. All of those things do factor in. So don't freak out when I say the SAT and the ACT are what they look at. It is what they look at. They also look at the letter that they write, the college admissions essay. They also, there's a whole lot of things they look at. Some schools look more at some things than others. Anyways, okay, I'm going to go ahead and jump back over to Excel and kind of show you how I've set mine up. Okay, so this is the high school transcript that I have created. I'm just going to go over briefly just the different parts and then kind of talk to you also about how I'm doing her 11th and 12th grade year since she is graduating a year early. Just know when I say she's graduating a year early, it's not that she's like some genius. I mean, she is, I think a smart kid, but I honestly think a lot of homeschool kids can graduate early, and I'll kind of talk about it as we go through. Okay, so what you want to identify what this document is. What are you giving to the college or the employer or whatever? And this is a high school transcript. The school name, just put homeschooled. And that's just easy, just so because that's what they're looking for. They don't need some elaborate name again, just unless you prefer. Then put your student's name, date of birth. I would call and ask if they want the social security number. Some schools are getting away from that, but some still want it. You're going to put your name and your address. Now, as you go in, there's different ways to set this up. You can set it up by course type or by grade or by level, or year. And I choose to set it up by year. And so I have 9th grade, and then I give the given year. I have right here, you'll see that it says course, grade, and credit. And I do that because you want to identify what you're talking about. And so the courses she's taking: Algebra 1, Integrated Physics and Chemistry, U.S. History, English 1, Piano 1. Now remember, I told you that's a fine arts credit. So if they take piano for 3 years, then you'd have Piano 1. The next year would be Piano 2. The next year would be Piano 3. Spanish 1, same thing. If she takes Spanish next year, it'll be Spanish 2, etc. Bible study. Culinary arts. Now, she gets her culinary arts credit through her co-op. I'm just throwing that out there in case y'all are part of a co-op. Remember, those classes you can use as courses. And don't forget, when you're, at least here in Texas, so I need to preface that, but when you are a homeschooler, you create courses however you want. So, yes, you're going to want those specifics like English 1, etc. But then you're going to create courses as well. And she takes 2 different baking courses. She took one in the fall and one now, and then she bakes all the time. And so we're calling that culinary arts. She's taking a personal finance. Now notice she only took that for a semester, so she's only getting a half a credit. And she's taking keyboarding, which is only going to be a half a credit. And then on the running, I don't give her a grade for that. It's just a pass-fail course. There's going to be some courses that were pass-fail. Of course, I would never put a course on here that I said that she failed, because why would you do that? And so I put pass. And then I just total up all of these. Now, if you're in Excel, you can use something called AutoSum, and it will, do that for you. Or if you're just like, I don't want to learn all that, Heather, then just go in and manually, and you can just type it in manually. Now I'm moving on to 10th grade. So these are some more courses. Again, she's going to probably she always likes the baking courses and things like that at co-op. So she'll probably do 2 of those again. And we usually always have them. So I just went ahead and added these things in for these next 2 years, knowing that they can change. But she's going to take geometry. Oh, why do you see? Okay. So we have geometry algebra 2 on both. That is because she goes through Dr. Sherman's math, which gives algebra 1 with a half a credit geometry, algebra 2 with a half a credit geometry. Instead of trying to put credit and a half, and the university going, what is all that? I just did it like this, just for their sanity, for my sanity, so we don't have to worry about it. Biology lab, physics and the Constitution, which is like a government class, English 2, Spanish 2, culinary arts 2. This business information management, I talked about maybe a couple of videos ago. At co-op, I teach Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint. I break those up by semester, but I did teach those when I taught high school. That's one of the classes I taught, and I'm thinking about putting it together for y'all. I don't know how I'm going to do it. It's going to take some time. I'm already kind of doing it because I do it for them, but how to figure out how to get that out to y'all might take some time. So, but be looking for that, because I think of course, I teach it, so I think it's important, but having those basic skills in Word and Excel, if they go off to college, they're going to assume they know PowerPoint, things like that, is kind of imperative. And so you're giving them skills that are real world skills, and they're getting to get high school credit for it. Okay, over here. Now, like I said, I think that most high schoolers, for the most part, can graduate in 3 years. And look at the total. So she got 10 credits, 9 credits, 9 credits. So that is, 28 credits. And I think what Virginia Tech was like 17 credits. I can't remember, a lot of them aren't even based on the amount of credits. It's based on the ACT score or SAT score. And so that's just something to think about whenever you are, if potentially they want to graduate early. And it also has to do with like my preference. I came from a school district that did a lot of dual credit. So they take like high school and college, or college credit for high school. And instead of starting that and just keeping her in, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to graduate you early, which is what she wanted to do. And then you can just start at the local, like junior college here, and get going on college at, a year early. So, okay. But anyway, so here we have pre-calculus, physics, world history with geography, English 3. Remember, most places want 4 years of English. And so here's her creative writing, which would be her 4th year of English. Spanish 3, career prep, and running again. Now, career prep, if you look over here, I gave her how many credits? 2. So in the state of Texas, I don't know about y'all's state, but it does fall under career and technical education, which, remember, is that federal umbrella. So they might have something like this in your state. Students that are working, they are working students, like she wants to get a job and work, they will get high school credit for working. Now, that doesn't mean it's just work. Like, I will have to provide her with a little bit of book work as well. Like, she'll learn how to do a resume, and we'll do mock interviews and business letters and things like that, and stuff that honestly is not that hard to find online. I'm just going to go to the TEKS, which is TEKS for Texas, is kind of like the course outline, what is taught in that course. And I will just look, and I'll just kind of, pull from there and decide. I'm also going to talk about it in that other video that I want to do on like kind of getting kids interested in different careers. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more on there, and then also give you some resources in that video. So on that note, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and do so, and hit that like icon, and don't forget to share as well. Okay, so let's say I have all of this filled out, of course, knowing that I can change when needed. I only have these grades because I assume that's kind of what they are, and I wanted to kind of talk about that. And then I left these blank for now. Okay, moving on. The last thing is down here, you're going to want a graduation date. I will probably do the very last day of school, just make it easy. The total credits, I was able to go in and do a formula, but that's no big deal. You can add those quickly. And then you're going to want to do a cumulative as well. So on the cumulative GPA, remember, on the cumulative GPA, you're going to add up what each thing is equivalent. So an A is equivalent to 4 points, a B is equivalent to 3 points, a C is equivalent to 2, and a D is equivalent to 1. You're going to add those up, and then you're going to multiply. You're going to average them out, multiply them by the number of, items that you averaged, courses that you averaged, and you're going to get a cumulative GPA. It's going to look something like, unless they have all A's, let's say they have a mix of A's and B's, it's going to look something like a 3.65 or a 3.7 or, whatever. And so you'll put that right there. Then you're going to put transcript prepared by. You might even want to like type out your name and then sign. And then I have found like at, I know at our junior college, we have to get it notarized, which I kind of think is funny because again, I'll take it to the library and they'll sign it and I'll pay them their $5 or whatever to notarize it. And it doesn't really mean anything, but that's what the school wants. So I get it notarized. And then I would just say, just make sure you have some stuff on hand to show, but don't stress about it too much because they're going to have to take an entrance exam anyways to college. And that's really what is going to help them. Okay, guys, that is going to be it, I think. I just wanted to point out real quick, whenever you are, again, it's a professional document that you're creating to give to these schools or employers or whoever. And so you want to make sure you spell check it. Like I spell checked mine. And I think I added a T in the wrong spot for writing, and I misspelled English on one of them. It was just, a typo, and then I think cumulative. I think I just completely missed dyslexic, not a good speller. But anyways, point being is you definitely want to do spell check and things like that. It's not, and I know I don't mean to be, when I come across this way, I'm just letting you know, you just want it to look professional. You don't want to use lowercase. You want to use uppercase on your course names. What else can I think of? Just any of that type of stuff. You just want to make it look professional and as professional as possible. But yeah, so if you have any questions on any of that, I would be happy to answer it. If you have any questions on any of it, I think I touched everything. I did a whole nother video before this one and it ended up messing up, and so I had to redo it. So I'm hoping I got all of everything I wanted to talk about. Please don't judge the homeschool room. It needs to be cleaned. Hot mess. But anyways, so if you have any questions on any of that, let me know. Again, if you did find value, I'd love for you to like it and share it with others, because I think hopefully other people find value in it as well and it will benefit them. So I hope you have a super blessed day and a blessed week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.